Okay, now we looked at the first rule, that is the general deduction rule, which says, as per the law, certain expenses are specifically disallowed in the computation of assessable business income. So therefore, you have to be very careful. Those expenses, you need not to see whether it is incurred in the production of income or not. Even if it is incurred in the production of income, still it is disallowed, since the law does not permit specifically. Now say for example, classic example is the entertainment expenses. Now entertainment expenses, even if it is incurred in the production of income in order to increase the revenue, still it is disallowed as per section 10(1)(b). Okay. Now we'll move on to the main deduction rule, or rather there is another point under this general deduction rule, so you can make a note on that also. In a para, write down as per section 10(2), as per section 10(2) of the Inland Revenue Act, as per section 10(2) of the Inland Revenue Act, if a person is allowed, as per section 10(2), if a person is allowed a deduction, as per section 10(2), if a person is allowed a deduction for a payment from which, if a person is allowed a deduction for a payment from which the person is required to, withhold tax as per the provisions of the Inland Revenue Act. As per the provisions of the Inland Revenue Act, comma, the deduction shall not be allowed until the tax withheld has been paid to the Commissioner General. Okay, now just to elaborate this point, I will give you an example and then I will explain further. Now it's like this. Now in conducting a business, you may make certain payments to certain parties, maybe to suppliers or your creditors, to banks, finance companies, or maybe to various individuals like consultants, contractors. You make payments for various reasons or various purposes. So now if the law were to say, when you make a payment as a business payment, and if such business payment shall be subject to the deduction of tax, and if you do not comply, if the business does not comply with the deduction rule, then that payment, which is turned to be an expenditure, that payment shall not be allowed as a deduction. So let me give you an example and then we can further have a look at on that. Say example, ABC Private Limited is engaged in manufacturing ceramic items, The company has hired the service of a lawyer in drafting. The company has hired a lawyer in drafting agreements with suppliers. And the company has paid ₹80,000 to the lawyer for the consultation provided. In a para write down, as per section 85 of the Inland Revenue Act, section 85 of the Inland Revenue Act, when a person makes a payment, as per section 85 of the Inland Revenue Act, when a person makes a payment to a resident individual, as per section 85 of the Inland Revenue Act, when a person makes a payment to a resident individual, comma, if the payment is in excess of 50,000 rupees per month, the payment is in excess of rupees 50,000 per month, comma, 5% taxes shall be withheld. 5% taxes shall be withheld by the payer, by the person who makes the payment. 5% taxes shall be withheld from the payment by the person who makes the payment. So in a para write down, accordingly, in the above example, in making 80,000 rupees payment to the lawyer, in making 80,000 rupees payment to the lawyer as legal fees, comma, ABC Private Limited ABC Private Limited, is required to deduct 5% tax, within brackets 80,000 into 5%, 4,000 rupees. 5% shall be deducted within brackets 80,000 into 5% equal 4,000 rupees, close the bracket, and remitted to the Department of Inland Revenue. Next para, write down. If the company fails to do so, comma, the legal expenditure will become disallowed. Here the reason is not because of anything else, but the non-compliance with Section 85 of the Inland Revenue Act. Okay, now I suppose you understood this provision. In case if a person does not comply with the requirement of the deduction of tax, then the payment will become disallowed for the purpose of income tax. So specifically as per Section 85, when you make payments to resident individual, where the payment is in excess of 50,000 rupees per month, especially these consultancy fees for a lawyer, or maybe for a tax consultant, or maybe to an auditor, or maybe to architecture, or maybe a quantity surveyor or valuer. If you make payments for a given month, and if that payment is in excess of 50,000 rupees, 5% tax has to be deducted, and such amount of taxes should be remitted to the Department of Inland Revenue. The failure in which will render the payment become disallowed for income tax purpose. Okay. Now we'll move on to the main deduction rule. You can take another subheading, main deduction rule. Now remember, this section only says that the expenses incurred in the production of income, or the expenses incurred in generating the revenue, can be deducted in the computation of assessable income. This section 11 only says those expenses incurred in the production of income can be deducted. So in that context, if you can judge whether that particular expenditure incurred in the production of income, then there is no issue, you can deduct that particular expenditure. But if you cannot prove the fact that this particular expenditure has influence in generating the revenue, then you may not be able to deduct such expenditure. So you can say, as per section 11 subsection 1, as per section 11 subsection 1, in calculating, as per section 11 subsection 1, in calculating business income for a year of assessment, expenses incurred during the year, as per section 11 subsection 1, in calculating business income for a year of assessment, expenses incurred during the year, by a person in the production of income, shall be deducted. Highlight the words expenses incurred in the production of income. Shall be deducted. In a para write down, however, as per section 11 subsection 2, capital nature expenses cannot be deducted. However, as per section 11 subsection 2, capital nature expenses cannot be deducted. In the computation of assessable business income. So I have a small subheading, expense of a capital nature. Now we will have to look at what expenses as per the law are treated as capital nature expenses. Say, section 11 subsection 3, reads as, within inverted comma, expense of a capital nature, includes an expense that secures a benefit capable of lasting longer than 12 months. Highlight here, expense secures a benefit capable of lasting longer than 12 months. expense that secures a benefit capable of lasting longer than 12 months. Okay, now with this, now we have looked at two main rules with regard to the deductibility of expenses, the general deduction rule and the main deduction rule. Now, the specific rule deduction is like this. There are specific provisions in the Inland Revenue Act with regard to certain expenditure items. We will have to take those expenses one by one in order to discuss the income tax treatments when it comes to the computation of assessable business income. So, but what I want now is, with this, what we have discussed up to now, we will take up an example, and then we will see as to how and how far you have understood the treatment of expenses which I have explained up to now. So then we can move forward thereafter. Say the following income statement, the following income statement for the year ended, 31st March 2019, the following income statement for the year ended 31st March 2019 has been extracted from the books of accounts of the following income statement for the year ended 31st March 2019 has been extracted from the books of DK Enterprises, comma, where Mr. D.K. Karunaratne is the sole proprietor. Mr. D.K. Karunaratne is the sole proprietor. Okay, we will take down this income statement. Okay, now you take down this example and then we will see how this, like the question, I will give you the question and then we will see how based on this, how are we going to calculate the assessable business income of this person, Mr. Karunaratne. Okay. Okay, so after this, say DK Enterprise is engaged in DK Enterprise is engaged in DK Enterprise is engaged in trading of stationary items. In the next line say, you are required to compute assessable business income. You are required to compute assessable business income for the year of assessment 2018-19. You are required to compute assessable business income for the year of assessment 2018-19 based on the above information. Okay, now since this is going to be the first question under business income, so I will do the calculation, but remember this question I have not taken up very complicated adjustments. I have just given basic income statement, and based on the figures what is there in the income statement, just see whether all these in the eyes of tax law, whether you can consider as a part of a business. Because in taxation, when you calculate the assessable business income, always you got to take the receipts from the business and the expenses incurred in generating the revenue. So with that in mind, so if you look at this one, so you can just have a idea what are the items that can be considered, even in the context of income as well as in the context of expenses. Just see what are the items that can be considered as items of a business and what are the items that cannot be considered as part of the business, irrespective of whether those are income or expenses. If those are not relevant to the business, those cannot be considered as part of the business, we will have to disregard them. So with that in mind, we will start the computation of assessable business income. So now this DK Enterprise, now we are not going to compute the assessable income of DK Enterprise, but we calculate the assessable business income of the person who is conducting this business. Now this business is conducted by one Mr. DK Karunaratne. So we have to state that we calculate the assessable business income of Mr. DK Karunaratne. So therefore we have to say DK Karunaratne. Mr. DK Karunaratne. Mr. DK Karunaratne. Computation of assessable business income. DK Karunaratne, computation of assessable business income for the year of assessment 2018-19. You start with profit before income tax. Now here we have already calculated profit before tax. You can see profit before tax. Profit before tax. So which is 1,811,000. Okay. No separate adjustments have been given, and then now generally if the adjustments are given in addition to the income statement, you have to always start with the adjustments and first take one by one adjustments and make according to the adjustments, you make the relevant corrections in the profit before tax or the accounting profit, and then you complete all the adjustments given, and then you can run through the income statement from the beginning to the end. So that's the procedure when the adjustments are given. If the adjustments are not given, you can right away go through the income statement from the beginning to the end. So thereby you don't miss out any items that you need to consider in converting this accounting profit before income tax into assessable business income. Okay, now here the sales, we need not to worry about sales because it's sales from this business. That is the income from the business. That is anyway reflecting in profit before tax. That is correct. And then cost of sales unless otherwise stated. So we always have to assume that the cost of sales also part of the expenses incurred in the generation or incurred in the production of income. So therefore there is no issue unless otherwise stated. If the question were to say that there are certain expenses which are not deductible, then you will have to make corrections or adjustments accordingly. So the gross profit is the resulting figure that we need not to worry. So then this profit before income has been arrived at considering these other income, dividend income of 172,000 and interest income, fixed deposit interest income. It is very precisely and specifically, it is a stated fixed deposit interest. Now this business is engaging in, DK Enterprise is engaged in trading of stationery items. So then from trading activities they have generated sales so much. But this dividend and the interest income are not from the business, but those are out of the business activities. Those are investment activities. So therefore, the interest income and the dividend income, you cannot consider as your business income. So therefore, you have to eliminate them or you have to cancel them from your profit before income tax. You can say dividend. You can say cancel. Why you are cancelling? It's not business income. It is investment income. You can say not a business income. Not a business income. It is not received. Dividend has not been received in the course of the business. So therefore, it cannot be considered as part of business income. So then, how much? 172,000, that is included in accounting profit, you have to cancel, minus. Okay. And same treatment, fixed deposit interest. Again, you can say cancel. Why you are cancelling? Fixed deposit interest also nothing to do with this business activity, because the business is trading stationery items. So the fixed deposit interest income has been generated not through the business activity, but due to the investment activity. So therefore you have to cancel that as well. And again you can say not a business income, not a business income. That is 95,000. Okay, now we removed dividend income and the interest income included in the profit before income tax. Now we'll come to expenses, salaries, electricity, telephone. Now these three items, unless otherwise stated, so it is very clear, these expenses are essential to run a business. It is essential to run a business. So therefore, since no specific notes have been given, so you can leave it out, and you can leave it out on the basis that these expenses have been incurred to generate the sales of 8,950,000. Okay, so in that context, you need not to give the reasoning as to why you leave it out or why you disregard these items, because it is quite clear and it is implied, even if you don't make a specific note on these items. So it is understood to the examiner why you have not considered, why you have left it off, because these expenses are essential to generate the revenue, and if so, those are allowed to deduct against the business revenue of 8,950,000. So therefore, I'm not going to make any note on these items. Salaries, electricity, and telephone. These three items I'm not going to make any note, because those are very clear, incurred in the production of income unless otherwise stated. Now the entertainment. Entertainment expense of 42,000 has been incurred. Now I explained to you, the entertainment expenses in any nature is not allowed. Whether it is incurred in the production of income in order to increase the sales volume, still any expenditure in the nature of entertainment as per the law specifically disallowed. So therefore you cannot deduct. You can say entertainment. Entertainment. You can say disallowed, specifically disallowed. As per the law, disallowed. Specifically disallowed. So disallowed means it is already deducted in calculating this profit before income tax, but for the purpose of income tax or in the computation of assessable income, since it is disallowed, you had to add it back. Okay. And then the provision for doubtful debts. Same, I explained earlier, as per section 10(1)(b), provisions for doubtful debts. Any provisions, not only provision for doubtful debts, provision for obsolete stocks, provision for warranties, provision for gratuity, provision for fall in value of investment. So any provisions, as per the law, not allowed. So therefore here also, provision for doubtful debts disallowed. Specifically disallowed. As per the law, it is disallowed. So how much is it? 42,000. You have to, no, in fact 8,000. So you have to add back 8,000. Okay. Now surcharge. What do you mean by surcharge? Surcharge is penalty or fines. Now why fines or penalties or surcharge imposed? Due to the non-compliance. If you do not comply with the statutory obligations, legal obligations, and if you don't make maybe tax payments or statutory payments timely, or if you do not submit required documents, statutorily required documents or regulatory required documents timely, then there will be penalty is imposed or fines are charged. So here the EPF surcharge means you wouldn't have paid, or this particular business wouldn't have paid EPF timely, and as a result of that, a surcharge has been levied or a surcharge has been imposed. So that is not incurred in the production of income. It is very clear because, but even in the law, this is not specifically mentioned. But as per section 10(1)(b), it says penalties, interest payable to the government of any country due to the breach of any written law is disallowed. That is specifically there. So therefore, now EPF is payable as per the regulations of the government, and if you have not complied with that and any penalties charged upon that non-compliance is disallowed. So therefore penalties or the surcharge is disallowed, specifically surcharge, EPF, you can say specifically disallowed. So since it is disallowed, you have to add back 3,000. Staff welfare, yes. So obviously you have to incur those staff welfare, like providing a cup of tea either in the morning or in the evening. So it's a welfare, or maybe providing meals. Those things can come under staff welfare. Those expenses quite okay to be deducted in the computation of even assessable business income. The donation. This donation is the question here because in the law it does not say the donation cannot be deducted. The law does not say the donation is not deductible in the computation of assessable business income. So therefore we will have to now look at whether the donation is a capital nature expenditure. Because capital nature expenses also, as per the law, is not allowable. So if donation does not fall into the nature of capital, and if does not fall into the expenses which are specifically disallowed, then you will have to go on the general rule whether such expenditure incurred in the production of income. So now donation is not a specifically disallowed expenditure, because as per section 10(1)(b), the expenditure list I have given, the donation does not include. And donation is not a capital expenditure anyway, because by making a donation you don't get any benefits directly for a period more than 12 months, because the definition of capital expenditure also I have given as per section 11 subsection 3. So therefore this donation expenditure will not come under the category of specifically disallowed expenses, neither under capital expense. So therefore we will have to look at whether donation can be considered as an expenditure incurred in the production of income. Does this donation, or has this donation expense incurred in the production of income? As a result of this donation, whether your revenue has, or whether there is impact on the revenue for the increase of revenue, or maybe to the decrease of expenses due to this expenditure. As a result of that, there is an impact on your bottom line. But if you really look at, because of a donation, there is no impact on the revenue. So therefore, donation generally cannot be deducted because it is not incurred in the production of income. So you can say donation. Donation disallowed. Donation is not an allowable expenditure, disallowed. Why it is disallowed? The reason is not the law specifically disallowed, but it is not incurred in the production of income. You can say not incurred. Not incurred in the production of income. In the production of income. Not incurred in the production of income. As such, this 25,000 is disallowed. I think we have looked at all the items in the income statement from the beginning to the end. So now you can take the total of these two columns separately. You take this total and take the difference into the if the plus column total is more, you take the total into the plus column and say assessable business income. It is quite obvious that the plus column is more, so therefore you take the difference under the plus column after this double line and say assessable business income. Take that. Okay, now the plus column total 0, 0, 0, 2, 1, 3, 11, 14 and 19. 8 and 8. I think 1,889,000. 1,889,000. Let me check on. One eight. $1,811,000, 42, 50, 53 and 75. $75, $78. Yes, correct. 1,889,000. And then this side, this side 7. $267,000. Accordingly, the plus side is more. Assessable business income. Assessable business income. Income is the difference $1,622,000. 1,622,000. This is the assessable income. Okay, 1 million. Now, this is actually very basic example on the computation of assessable business income. You will not get a question of this nature. So therefore, we need to get into a little more complicated questions, and then we will have to look at how you will tackle this one. Okay, we will look at another question, and that will be bit more with bit more adjustments. So what I will do is, I will basically, with this question, I will give you a little time for you to work it out, and then we will see how far you have gained the knowledge in making adjustments. Okay. take down this question. Mr. Damit Pereira is the owner of Entertainment Hub. Mr. Damit Pereira is the owner of Entertainment Hub, engaged in importing musical instrument and selling across the island. The following income statement has been extracted. The following income statement has been extracted from the books of accounts of Entertainment Hub. The following income statement has been extracted from the books of accounts of Entertainment Hub for the year ended 31st March 2019. Okay, just check the total of these expenses and then deduct this total expenses from this figure and then arrive at profit before tax. Profit before tax. So you have to take this figure. And then after this, say following additional information is also provided. The following additional information is also provided. Interest income consists of following. Interest income consists of following. Fixed deposit interest, $285,000. Interest charge on staff loans given, $13,000. Okay, bad debts includes 2,000 rupees being irrecoverable staff loan. Next one, during the year, 2 employees have left. And they were paid gratuity of rupees 60,000. Donation has been granted to the Ministry of Health. Okay, in a para write down, you are required to compute assessable business income of Mr. Damit Pereira for the year of assessment 2018-19. The year of assessment 2018-19. Okay. So this question also not that complicated, but there are few items I have specifically given for you to just think of. But next day I probably will have a bit more, in the sense not complicated, but bit more items coming into the scene in order for you to get an understanding as to how you should deal with those items. Now we have already looked at few items. Now remember here, this depreciation, it is on capital assets. So the depreciation is in the form of value reduction of capital assets that an organization has already purchased. So therefore, now what we called here depreciation is the provision for depreciation. Now generally, as you all know, depreciation, provision for anything is disallowed. And on the other hand, the provision for depreciation means is a book entry on the capital assets that you have already purchased. It's a systematic allocation of the cost of the capital assets that have been already purchased. So therefore, anyway, you will have to look at how it has to be treated. So, and then the donation I have stated, it is to the government, and you have to see whether it can be allowed in the computation of assessable income. And legal fees also I have given here, but I have not given any idea but this legal fee. If nothing is mentioned clearly, you have to always assume that these expenses have been incurred in the production of income unless otherwise stated. If a specific note is given, then you have to work on it, and then you have to make the adjustments accordingly. If no information is given, no specific notes are given, then just think these expenses have been incurred in the production of income. That's it. So based on that, you do the calculation, and we will look at next day your answers, and then I will give you a question with more adjustments next day before moving into the main or specific rule deductions. Okay, thank you very much.